Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Linda.
Welcome to Homegrown Family. We've got another parent pro tip for you. I think you're going to love it. What is it, Linda?
I want to talk about the ridiculous things that people say to parents.
Oh my gosh.
We were going to write a book once, weren't we?
Yeah, something like stupid things people say,
Yeah.
or I can't.
I can't speak now. I have a foot.
No, I was going to write a book. I can't speak right now. My foot's in my mouth.
Yeah.
But maybe that would work for this because honestly, I don't think that people mean to be mean. As a general rule, I think some people just don't have any type of barrier in their brain. If they think it, they say it.
Right. And so let's give it. I want to give a couple examples. That's what we're going to start with because
Okay.
we've had our share.
Yeah.
One was I remember.
Why is your husband so hot?
Because he's wearing a sweater. Sorry.
That's not.
I'm not the comedian in the family. All right. So one example was I remember one day we were out shopping for school clothes, and I don't know how many kids we had. Definitely at least 7 or 8. And one lady, she's sitting there watching us do the shopping at the store, and finally she's like, "Are all these your kids?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Are you crazy?" I was like, well, I think I'm blessed. And then she started reeling it back in, like, oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I mean, you know.
That's when you should I told you that people think I'm crazy.
Like I'm talking to myself.
Yeah. Tell her you're not.
Okay, that's a good idea. I'll remember that next time.
Yeah.
Or, of course, we've told the story a lot when we do our talks about one day at Mass. I had taken the kids, regular Chris travels. I'm taking the children to daily Mass. And, they're little. They're a little on the loud side. At least they're not perfectly quiet. And a man came up to me afterward and said, "Will you please stop bringing your distractions to Mass?" And that one completely stunned me. I was like,
What's interesting is I'm going to that church to do a presentation.
Is that interesting?
Yeah, so if I find him, I'm going to tell him off.
I'm sure he's in purgatory by now.
We don't know that. He could have made a good confession.
He could have, but Lord willing.
And done a lot of beautiful penance. So this is a safe place. No judging.
No judging. Okay.
Anyway, there are times that people say things that can be so hurtful and ridiculous. So one time, didn't somebody say to you, here, I have some clothes that don't fit me anymore and you can have them? Or was that to a family member?
That was to a family member, yeah. Yeah, these are too big for me. Maybe they'll fit you.
That's so awesome. Maybe you've done that before where you've said something so ridiculous and then you realize that I actually had that. This isn't just,
What, you say things without thinking about it?
Well, in my defense, so I make it a rule never to look at someone and say, "So when are you due?"
Yeah.
Because there's some obvious reasons why that's not a good idea. Yeah. But in this case, it just seemed so obvious that she was with child, and so I said it. And I was at a church doing some talk, and there was a lady there, and we were chatting, and I said to her, "So when are you due?" And it was such a moment of, I'm like my child's 2 months old, probably older, 5 months old, 6 months old, and I tried to backpedal, but she knew it. She knew I had stuck my foot in my mouth, and there was no coming back. I think at that point you just have to say sorry. Yeah. Maybe you've done that before. Maybe you've said something dumb.
Yeah, because sometimes it does slip out. Yeah, I mean, I know I've done it too, but it is amazing how some people actually are so unconditioned to family life and children, especially if you have a large family or if you have adopted children where some children don't look just like the other children. Yeah. The things that people will say is really stunning, and is it possibly just that they have no discipline to control their mouth, or is it that there's something in us that in this culture maybe that just doesn't accept the things that are not completely normal and average? And so how do we handle those situations? I mean, we've tried. Usually we will blow it off, and don't get too offended, because we have to try to look at people with charity.
Yeah.
Even though I maybe want to feel like I want to wring their neck.
Throw a punch.
Throw a punch.
The thing about it is that I think some people recognize, oh my gosh, I just said something I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. You can see it. It was an accident. It's easy to extend charity to people like that. But there are this group of people that just, it's like, bam, they say these things and they don't see anything wrong with it. It's almost like, of course you want to know, right? You don't fit properly into that outfit. Like maybe you should get a different size, or, oh my gosh, look at all these kids. Don't you have any type of restraint? And
oh my gosh.
people, it's almost like they feel an obligation to come in and order your life. And I think what it comes down to, simply put, is pride. I think people have a very a propensity towards pride. They think, obviously, they're doing life wrong. This is not the way you should do it. How can you have that many kids? Don't you know how that happens? Right? You should get a TV. We have TVs in every room. So,
but on that subject, I'm going to make something very clear that everybody who's watching needs to remember this. That never is it proper to ask a person, are you done?
yeah,
Are you having more?
kids, right?
Oh, yeah, when it comes to how many children. I can't tell you how many people have asked me that, and every single time I want to throat punch them, because it's none of their business.
Yeah.
It's none of their business. What happens with us inside our bedroom is not something that we give to public interest, to public information. And so, do you plan on having more? Well, let me just explain to you my fertility and my sex life. Like, really? Like,
Right.
that's just none of your business. Should I tell you what kind of pajamas I wear at night, too? Like, I think that question, and I know that it really comes out of it's not pride that's feeding that question, it's curiosity. And I think
Right.
in some ways, especially after you have so many kids, that there's a sense of freakishness to it. Like,
Yeah.
let's gawk at the freaks. They're going to have more. But just never, ever, just please file that away in your head. And for the sake of all women out there, just never ask
But
if they're
if you
having
are a
more.
waiter, you do need to ask that question. Are you going to have more?
Food.
Yeah. Can I take this from you? Don't ever say, can I take your child from you? The thing about it is, we all say dumb things, like what I just said a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
But
This is a lot.
the thing is, we all say dumb things. But you're welcome. I think
point?
that's the point, right? We all say dumb things, but sometimes you just got to be careful about kind of putting your nose into business that's not your business. I think, simply put, if somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, you guys have a lot of kids. How do you guys do that?" It's not malicious. It's not.
no.
Fresh.
Yeah.
They're just wanting to know, how do you do it? It's hard. I always hear, "Oh my gosh, we have two, and it's so hard. I couldn't imagine doing doing this thing called life with more than a couple kids." And I also know a lot of people who wish they could have more kids.
Right.
But this talk is not specifically just
No,
for
that's
kids.
not.
There are things that people say that. One time I was. Linda wanted to go shopping, and of course, being an amazing husband, I wanted to support her, and so I was going to drop her off to go into the grocery store and park the car, okay? And we had a little baby, and she was going in. I remember the store. It was that big giant lion eagle type thing in
Giant
Pittsburgh.
eagle.
Was it a giant eagle?
Giant eagle.
Yeah, so apparently I didn't fully know the story, but it was a giant something. And so I dropped her off, and I'm looping around, and there's that sign. It's like stork parking. If you're an expectant mother or you have a brand new baby, you could park there.
This is a great gift.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
so
great
awesome.
sign.
So I pull like our minivan in, and my window's down, and this lady drives by. So I'm parked. She's driving by, and she yells out her window at me, "You're a man!" And I thought, I am a man, but why are you yelling? Then I realized she's mad and is going to tell me off because I, as a man, am parking in a expectant mother's, and I'm trying to yell back, we have a brand new baby. My wife, she's just cruising on. Like, she had decided immediately that I was evil and that I was the kind of guy that's going to park in an expectant mother's slot. I think part of this comes down to, before you speak, right? think.
Pause.
Or don't say something if you're not going to say something nice, I'm sure that was a lot better when my mother told me that. Don't speak unless you're spoken to.
So there you go, another episode of Homegrown Family where we really haven't given you any good content.
There you go. You're welcome.
Tune back for more.
Tune back for more meaningless information. So, good luck, mothers.
Thanks for watching.